Hello, Finovate. I'm David. This is Matt. We're Expensify, and we do expense reports that don't suck. I know it's a bold vision, but we're here to make the world better one expense report at a time. So we've actually been here on stage a couple times before. We launched here at Finovate in 2009. 2010, we launched this real-time financial analytics package. Last year, we launched a new feature called Smart Scan, which actually in the past year has been very, very exciting because so the Smart Scan feature we launched last year was you take a picture of your receipt with your mobile phone. We will read all the information off the receipts and then automatically associate it with your credit card, basically just doing everything that you would do yourself except just doing it for you. And I think one of the nicest things out of this process was it caused us to really reconsider how our product works. Because, you know, we've dealt with a lot of credit card import, a lot of transactions, a lot of receipts, and we've always historically viewed them as two separate things. But once we started realizing we can pull the information off the receipt, really the transactions and the receipts are the same thing. They're sort of two sides of the same coin, if you will. And so as we've been sort of optimizing our scanning algorithm and so forth, we realized that a lot of the receipts that we process are actually travel itineraries, you know, booking for airfare, hotels, cars, things like this. And so we sort of realized there's a third side to this coin, if you will. And because really an itinerary is just a receipt, is just a transaction, they're all kind of the same thing. And so as a result, we sort of realized that an expense report, if you will, is really just your itinerary before you submit it. And I think one of the key advantages we've had at Expensify is recognizing the similarity of these different types of data and then building a product to sort of accommodate all of it. So as a result, today we're launching a very exciting upgrade to the Smart Scan system, and that is now we do full itinerary processing and full trip tracking. So to give a sense of what that works like in the real world. So imagine that you're going on a business trip, you've booked your airfare on Orbitz or something like this. Normally with Expensify, we would just read the information off the itinerary and just record the transaction details. But now we also know the actual itinerary details itself, such that 4 hours before your flight, we're going to contact you with an update reminding you, where your hotel is, what your flight information is, and so forth. When you get to the airport, you're going to pull out your phone, and you're going to see here on the screen that now at the bottom it shows sort of the next action in your itinerary. Because I know, you go to the airport, the first thing you do is like, what flight am I on? Things like this. And so we try to make this information, the most important information to you, visible right away without any additional work whatsoever. If you want more details, you can just sort of tap on the link there, and we'll pull up a full itinerary of your complete trip. Airfare, hotel, cars, trains, whatever you want. Basically, what you've seen in other trip tracking products, but in a very simplified and streamlined basis. Because trip tracking is a great feature. I mean, we've had tons and tons of users, and I guess maybe stepping back, I'd say Expensify only does what users ask. And so as a result of this, we've had tons of users asking for integrations with trip tracking providers and so forth. We were going to do it until Concur had the audacity to acquire TripIt. And then we just realized, well, maybe we don't actually have to integrate with existing providers because we can just do this ourselves. We have all the data and so forth. And so as a result, now built into the expense reporting process, you can actually track your itinerary while you're building your expense report. And so you're on your trip, you can see all your details and so forth. Whenever you want more information, each of these itinerary items is also just a full Expensify expense. So you can do everything you'd normally do with an expense. You can categorize it, tag it, add comments, and so forth. We also, like any other receipt, keep the original receipt on record. And so you can dive down into the actual original receipt email and so forth, directly there on the mobile app, available offline and so forth. And so as a result of all of this, basically, building full itinerary tracking into your expense report streamlines the entire process. So as you're going throughout your trip, you can obviously see the entire itinerary. You can go back and forth and so forth. When you land, now because we know that you've landed, we can contact you with an email reminder. And because while you're doing your business trip, you are making purchases with your credit card, and because we import your credit card, we can actually satisfy all the IRS regulations around the receipt requirements for any purchase under $75. Our Smart Scan system will scan all the details off any receipt picture you take for receipts over $75. And so at the end, after a few days to let the transactions sort themselves out, we're going to contact you with another email and then basically provide a link that we can create the full expense report in one click. Because now that we know that you went on a trip, we can contact you and say, we know the full date range of the business trip. We know all the purchases that had happened in your credit card. We know all the receipts that you scanned during that trip. So we actually have total awareness of the complete expense report at the end of the trip automatically. And so you just click the link and you can truly get a one-click expense report. So long as you're just being diligent as you're going on your trip, you're sending us and doing all the things you would normally do. Now that we have awareness of what's inside the itinerary, we can actually provide a much greater experience after the trip with a single-click expense report to control the entire thing. So it's a pretty exciting feature. I know that users have been asking for it for a very long time. I know that I personally have wanted this for quite a while. And so I think that what's nice about this whole experience is because it's done in the context of a broader business. Like, trip tracking is a great feature. It's a very powerful feature, but it's also a relatively small feature. And it's hard. There's a lot of startups out there that sort of pick one great thing and then try to build a business around it, but then find that it's kind of too small for the company. And so as a result, they have to sort of glop on all these additional functionalities, they jam in a bunch of ads, there's these premium upgrades and things like this. This is just built into the standard Expensify service. And so everyone who uses Expensify is automatically going to be using this as well. It doesn't cost anything extra, doesn't require any change in your behavior, just more value for the exact actions that you're already taking. And as a result, we can provide the streamlined experience without any additional upgrade fees. We're not sending advertising into your inbox. We're not trying to nag you to upgrade or withhold the best functionality if you don't. It's just a very clean, simple trip tracking experience integrated into your expense report, because we know that for business travelers, travel and expense are really the same thing. Again, sort of two sides of the same piece of information, and now we cover them both. So that's Expensify. We're here, and we'd love to talk to you. Thank you so much.